Today we had on Miranda Caldwell. She talks about how she built an audience of almost 250,000 followers on TikTok, how it brings her more business, and how she crushes voiceovers on all platforms.
The Broke Agent presents Over Ask Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of Over Ask. Today we have a very special guest, fellow Torontonian, Miranda Caldwell on the program. Miranda, thanks for being on.
Thanks so much for having me.
Less enthusiastic, the 17th time. Miranda, you are a famous TikToker from Toronto. We were just talking about this. You have how many followers you got? Are you one of those exact following people where you know the exact amount of followers you have?
I probably know, but it's just over 200,000.
Incredible.
219,000, I believe.
0.2 if you really...
0.2, exactly, yes.
TikTok rounds up. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, they round up.
Okay, so let's get into this a little bit. First, let's get a background on you. Background check. Make sure you're not a creep or something like that. And then we'll get into it. Who is Miranda Caldwell, for people who may not know?
I don't even know sometimes. I've been in the business for 4 years, and I'm design obsessed. I just really love houses, so that's why I tour so many of them. And yeah, I live in Toronto with our dog and my husband, and that's pretty much it.
Cool.
So when did you start? So you're a licensed realtor, obviously, for 4 years, I believe?
Yeah, just under 4 years. I started in March 2019.
Okay. So kind of right before, a year before the pandemic. When did you start doing social media? When did you start picking up TikTok?
So it was a pandemic hobby for me. I started, I think it was the summer of 2020. And then about a year later, I had one of my first videos hit over 1 million views. And I've had a few since then, but that's really what built the following to what it is now.
So was your content what we see now? Was it home tours from the get-go?
It was, but when I first started, there was a lot of people I was speaking with who are also agents, and they were doing more of the, the talking head style videos. And I guess I really hadn't tapped into my interest in design at the time, because I was just trying to write or do videos about like certified checks and stuff, and they were extremely boring. I didn't like watching them, so I don't know why anyone else would. So if you scroll back, there's some really cringy videos on there about those type of things. But eventually I started kind of realizing just to talk about what I'm interested in and roll with that.
What are certified checks?
I mean,
is this a Canadian thing?
Yeah.
Or am I just a moron, or a combination of both?
A combination of both. But yeah, they're just certified check, bank draft.
Well, what are they?
You go to the bank, and basically there's a couple like different ways you can do it, but it's the money comes out of your account right away. So it's basically like certified by the bank. So when someone's receiving a check, it's not like any check where the check could bounce. It's the money's definitely there.
Okay, yeah, like a cashier's check.
Yeah, basically.
Sure. Okay, got it.
She just told us how boring those videos were, and then you got
seriously. So what was the thought process behind that? Like, was obviously, that can be real estate related, but like, were you just like at the bank describing these, or were you doing a green screen mode? Like, why did you choose to go down that route first?
I think when everyone starts content, the hardest thing is like figuring out what to talk about. And it seemed like something that obviously people didn't know the answer to. And I was being asked the question for sure, but it's more of one of those things. Maybe it's a video to record for offline, because I was comparing that to the house tour videos that some of them were going viral. And I'm like, why didn't my certified check video go viral? But it's like, duh, obviously.
So take us through a bit of a timeline. So you started 2019, you started doing the videos in 2020, and then you had a video hit over 1 million views. So how long did it take for you to get that video to hit? And then what was that video?
So I can't remember which one exactly, but I know this, I can tell when they are going viral for specific reasons. It's like you say something that it's a little jarring, I find. So I remember one of the first ones was talking about a century home that was completely renovated. And I don't know if Toronto, like it's all century homes. So for other people outside of Toronto, it's like, oh, a renovated century home, it's like a sin. But every home in Toronto is basically a Century home, and it was like gutted, like didn't look anything like a Century home anymore, and people were pissed about that. So that's one of the first ones that went viral. And then I had a really big one that went to 21 million views as well.
Jesus, what was that one?
That one was like, I started a sentence over voiceover and I didn't finish it because I was trying to finish it in the song, if that makes sense. So people who were listening or just reading the text, they were like, what did the designer say? And then they'd have to like try to keep watching, but they just didn't have the sound on. And the house itself was like a lot of arches and like kind of a unique design too, which helped obviously.
I noticed you do a lot of the voiceover content, which I think is really effective, that we don't see as many agents doing that because they probably just don't even know how to use it, whether it's on Reels or TikTok. But I think that's such an engaging way to keep people interested throughout the entire video is it's your voice describing it. It's not just like captions popping up, and it's you describing it with your actual input on the design of these houses.
Yeah.
So all these houses like that one that got 21 million views. Are these your listings, or how are you finding out the house tours?
No, I actually got the idea from Ryan Serhant's book, where he talked about when he was a brand new agent, he used to ask permission to advertise other people's listings. And that's basically what most of them are. So it's sort of a curated selection of specific ones that I think will look good on camera. And then I always get permission. So I make sure, which is great for networking purposes too, to meet other agents. And now as a new agent, they know who I am. And obviously, they're typically bigger agents with higher end listings. So it works kind of twofold that way.
That's a really good idea for newer agents to do what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You're just literally calling up high-end agents and getting into their house. It's making you more knowledgeable, you're networking, and you're, I'm assuming, getting potential clients from TikTok because a lot of people don't know that it's not your listing. And even if they do, you're showcasing the home in such a nice way that I feel like people who are selling would want someone like you with a big following at this point. So has it done anything for your business so far?
Yeah, I think the first effect that it's had is it's really shown my personal network that I'm active in the market. The lights are on. Most of them assume they're my listings, even though they're not. So I've gotten business from my personal network seeing the social stuff there. And then I think it's more of a long-term strategy for meeting complete strangers. I have met a few from social, and I know there are realtors on TikTok who are doing the sort of talking head style videos and they meet more people. So that's what the voiceovers, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's what the voiceovers are helping with, is trying to get a little bit more of my personality into the videos.
Yeah, I think Aaron Grusho did this too. Matt, we had him on the podcast. So in LA and Toronto, I think these markets, especially these big city markets with these incredible houses and views, this strategy is really effective. Have you gotten any pushback from agents when you ask them to view their listing? Are they ever just like, no, I don't want you to come, like, this is my listing?
Yeah, I do. But I think that you have to just accept the fact that there's going to be people who say no when you're asking for something. I always ask the ones that are on MLS listed as like permission to advertise as yes. So, I mean, there's sometimes when I see like a really spectacular one and I reach out either way, but I always acknowledge that they had it marked as not to reach out and that I'm like reaching out because it's such a nice place. But yeah, there's rude agents, but you just kind of have to accept that because I'd rather the opportunity that they do say yes than just not trying at all.
Do you get referral fees from these at all? Because I'm sure if you have these videos that get millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views, buyers have to be coming from these. So do you ever say like, hey, give me a little kickback here, maybe 25%? Like that buyer came from my video.
I know. I really haven't followed up to see who the buyer ends up being. And if they saw the video, I would love to. But I think at first I just like was a little bit imposter syndrome with it. So now I might start, not for a referral fee, but just more out of curiosity. And there's actually a few agents I've run into on YouTube and stuff who their business is just meeting clients online and not even servicing them in their own market, and they just refer them off to wherever market, so they could be all over the world, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. I just had a good question. I lost it. Anyways, what does it look like for, so you ask the person for permission, they say yes. How long does it take? What's the process? Are you scripting anything out? Do you kind of look at the photos first and kind of know where you're going to go in the house, or how does that process look?
Yeah, so I have a search set up on my prospect alerts where I have like very specific keywords that I look for. And I filter by properties that have permission to advertise as yes. So I'm looking through the listings daily. I always look at them in like the smallest view. You know, when you can like zoom out and see the photos in the small thumbnail, I do that because
Yeah.
it's like a good way of seeing if it's going to actually look good on camera. Because if you're zoomed out, it's like that's still visually interesting, is sort of my criteria. And then I reach out, they say yes. I book a showing basically, and I take usually about an hour. And the easiest thing for me is to do the voiceover after now because I don't have to worry about getting my voice correct while I'm physically in person. If I have to redo something, I just do it all at home on the couch, which is kind of cool.
So are you filming these just on your camera roll on your phone, or are you filming them natively in TikTok and Instagram?
I film on my camera roll because I want to be able to go and edit it after. And I find TikTok can be a little finicky. It's better now than it used to be. Like it used to be so hard to edit natively on TikTok. But the one thing that you should definitely do natively on all the platforms is the captions because those are keyword searchable now. And if you're not using TikTok's native text, then the algorithm can't really crawl for keywords. So it's not really understanding what your video is about as easily.
I always wondered that, Matt, with our podcast clips and everything, because we have an editor that does all of our captions that pop up with emojis and everything. You see the style on all these realtors and talking heads. And I always wondered if that was affecting the performance because it's done outside of the app. I think it helps in the sense that the captions are more clear and more
Yeah.
engaging because they're popping up. So the visibility of it actually helps, but that makes complete sense with the TikTok keyword search
Yeah.
that
Anytime you can
you
do it
should use the.
natively.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then
So you're
go ahead.
Miranda, we interrupt each other once an episode. This is the one time. So sometimes you're actually in the video and sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
So when you're in the video, obviously, who do you bring with you? And is it still just iPhone, or is that a professional videographer?
No, it's an iPhone. I think like it's harder when you start getting into equipment because you're just gonna focus on something that probably doesn't matter too much. You got to start with like the shittiest but most viable thing that you have, I think, and just roll with it. So it's my iPhone, just like on a gimbal. There's usually like my husband, my mom, or my colleague with me. And then when I'm not in it as much, I try to bring a tripod so I'm in it at the beginning now. So you can at least see me walking in. And then I do like one cut when I'm entering through the front door. And then the rest is just me filming with my gimbal.
Yeah, I feel like it helps to be in the video initially with that hook when you're describing what the house is, so they kind of understand what they're about to see.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
are you giving any call to, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Psychologically, people are attracted to faces more than they are anything else. So
100%.
yeah.
Are you giving any call to actions at the end, like where they could find this house, or visiting a website, or commenting about what they like about the house, or how do you end these videos?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about that. I don't typically do a call to action. I have all of the homes I tour typically linked in my link tree, and then they can kind of fill out a form, give me their email, and request to see the full listing if they want. But I think people are very sick of being sold to, so I try to make it as least promotional as possible because the reality is people know how to click a URL in your profile now. So
Yeah.
you see those videos like property tours with the logo everywhere, and it's just like nobody's stealing your video. It's fine. Just entertain people, and they'll come to you. Is how I feel about it.
It damages
If
the
you build
loop
it, they will
capability
come.
of it also.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you have something at the end that is this call to action, or, it's the end of your podcast and you have, watch this on Spotify, watch this on YouTube, which we want to do for some of our clips, but that will hurt with the loop aspect of it. Like you don't want to keep watching that video knowing that's the end.
Yeah.
So that's how it could definitely damage your video.
I think the reality is TikTok and all the platforms, they want people to stay on the app as long as possible because that's how they make money. So
Yep.
anytime you're directing someone very obviously off of the app, it's probably hurting your video somehow because people are now leaving the app after they watch your video.
100%. So after you film these on TikTok, are you downloading them to you're filming them on your camera roll, but how quickly are you uploading these to Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and other platforms? Or are you doing that?
Yeah, that's another sort of conspiracy that I have, because I almost feel like it's a bit of a conspiracy for sure. I feel like they also want, like, if you think of it all from like a press perspective, everyone wants the exclusive on the story. So if you're uploading them all at the same time to all of the platforms, then I feel like my hunch is that they have some idea that it's not exclusive to their platform right now. And I feel like it doesn't help you as much. But I mean, that's like my conspiracy theory. So I don't know if it's real.
So you're saying you delay your posts, like you'll upload to TikTok, then maybe wait 3 or 4 days, let TikTok get the initial story, and then you publish it to Reels? Got it. Yeah. Matt, what kind of things stand the test of time?
Beats me, Eric.
Well, I got a list for you right here. Twinkies, J-Lo, Ben Affleck, diamonds, the Beatles. You could add your real estate success to that list when you partner with BoomTown, the #1 user rated real estate CRM in the game.
BoomTown was built to drive sustainable long-term success, Eric, no matter the market. So if you're ready to put your best foot forward and build a real estate business that can stand the test of time, visit boomtownroi.com/overask. Plus, see how you can score $750 in free digital advertising now. Now that's boomtownroi.com/overask.
Yeah.
There might be some truth to that.
Okay. I thought you were saying the earth was flat.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I mean, it is.
Well, that 100% is.
No, there might be. I like that, how you put that, though, with like everyone wants kind of like the press release or like the first kind of go at it. Like they want the big story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could. Eric, you should look into that.
Yeah, I mean, I've
I've
definitely noticed that too. If I upload a TikTok and Reel kind of back to back, that usually one performs better. But I usually just think that's because the content performs better on Instagram than it does on TikTok, and TikTok is just so hit or miss. So you're following, 220,000 on TikTok. How are you translating that to Instagram and other platforms? Are you telling people to follow you in other places, or do you just have that in your bio, or what's your process with that?
So the way I've been seeing it now, I'm trying, like, everyone's always like, not an expert. I just want to say, like, I'm figuring it out as I go, but I think of it like layers of an onion, in the sense that I'm really trying to avoid posting the exact same thing on all of the platforms. So for example, the house tours, I want to get to a point where people know that I will show a more in-depth house tour on YouTube, for example. And that's obviously going to be like a horizontal style video, but in the YouTube ones, I typically actually spend time going into the basement and exploring like the whole property, inside closets, inside doors, so that people have a reason to also follow me on YouTube, because they're not seeing the same thing. Because otherwise, like, if it's just the same on every platform, why would they follow you on all of them?
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And that's why I haven't got as big on TikTok, because I just repost the exact same shit and everything. You need like different shit on every platform, or it's just not going to work. There's no reason for anyone on Instagram to follow me on TikTok.
It's hard to keep up, though. It's hard to do content for all the platforms.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. So what is how like ahead are you in terms of filming these videos? Like, do you already have your month of videos ready, or do you do it week by week, or how does that work?
I don't. I don't have any pre-planning. I should. Like, I know I have tours that I'm visiting soon, but the actual video itself isn't edited. But again, like, they're at a point now that they're so sort of formulaic that they take maybe an hour to edit, and I can post it the following day.
Yeah, that's genius. Eric, I thought you were gonna. It looked like you had.
I did a little
really
breath right there. I was about to
kept nodding your head.
I was about to say something. So with all these followers and comments and everything, I've seen a lot of negative comments on your profile and basically every single real estate agent's profile. And I saw you do a TikTok where you're commenting back to one too, where they literally just said like to fuck yourself or something, basically, where you just had the comment up there. And this is a common theme in real estate. People hate agents on TikTok with a deep seething passion. So I wanted to ask you, how do you deal with the comments? Does it affect you? And why do you think people hate agents so much on TikTok?
It used to affect me a lot more than it does now. I think any comment is a good comment now, as long as they're not like, it's hard not to take the go fuck yourself ones personally. But the reality is like, they're like, if you think of how fast people are typing this, like they're typing it and then scrolling off again. So I don't know. I just personally, I try to engage with most of them because then it drives up the amount of comments on the video and gets you more engagement. But yeah, you can interact with them. I try not to interact with all of them, and I mostly just like try to ask them why they're saying like I ruined the house or something. First of all, it's not my house. And the house, like if you saw it before, was probably pretty shit too. So yeah, I just take it with a grain of salt, I would say. And people love to hate anyone who's got like a little bit of a platform. It's just the nature of what it's going to be. So.
But why agents specifically? Like every agent I see has hundreds of hate comments in their videos, no matter what they're talking about, whether it's house tours or they're just giving a market update. Like, why do you think the commenters despise agents so much?
Because I think there's some pretty terrible agents out there. I mean, there definitely are, but also, the housing market's kind of crazy right now, and to have someone to blame and to like hate on it's like an outlet of that energy, I guess. I mean,
people are angry and they blame agents for inflation.
Yeah.
Like legit, here at least. Like some of the TikTok comments are like they blame us for the entire housing crisis.
Mm-hmm. I think
like it's solely hard.
Yeah, there needs to be more transparency about like that there's a buyer's agent and a seller's agent too, because a lot of the time it's like people think that agents drive the prices up, and it's like, but that's our job for the seller when it's the seller. And then on the flip side, it's the opposite when you're on the buyer side. So I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people don't recognize that as much.
Yeah. I think also just the constant way agents go about saying it's a good time to buy, it's a good time to sell without giving like full education. Where, the last 2 years, it's been an incredible time to buy because rates were so low and the market's so hot and everything's so crazy. And now it's a good time to buy because even though rates are higher, there's more inventory. And it's always a good time to buy or sell from a lot of agents on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then I was just at a conference and someone said, how there's 87% of agents fail in the first 5 years? If that's 87% of agents, most people are dealing with those agents. So most people have a negative experience with whoever they dealt with. So, there's only 10, 13% of the agent population that is actually, decent at their job. So all these commenters have probably had such a piss poor experience with an agent that they feel like, okay, I could just lash out at this random person.
Yeah. And it's such a time now when there's like way more transparency for consumers than there used to be. Like it used to be just a magazine that people, and then they had one person they could call. And it's like now they can actually look up the sale price and they can see, where the bad agents are going wrong. And that just didn't exist. Things have changed so much in the last like 10, 15 years that I think it's, just catching up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's magnified because now agents, like if they're bad, that's magnified because it's just all over. You have commenters, everyone has a voice. It's just a bit of a shit show and then all the different platforms. And then, like you said, Eric, it's just, they all go back to Miranda and it's, they all shit on her.
Well, the anonymity of TikTok too is what gives them this credence to unleash these comments from hell. We've said this before on the podcast, but your Instagram audience knows you. Like you recognize those followers. Your TikTok audience is being fed to an algorithm of random people. So they feel way more free to just spew hatred at agents. So with this shift, have you shifted with this market shift? Have you shifted your content at all? Like how are you going about navigating your TikToks and Instagrams with the recent market crisis shift?
Yeah, I'm actually excited to have a little bit more time to really focus on exploring my interest in design and what that looks like for sharing with the TikTok audience, because the house tours, like they're so fast to like pump out that you don't get to see a lot of me as an individual. So I'm exploring YouTube as well. And I am being, with just like how the market sentiment has changed, I'm being a little bit more careful with not trying to advertise like the super overpriced properties, because they're, you know, in the luxury market, sometimes you just like randomly pick a price because it's such a unique space. But you know, it's kind of a fine line. I'm not trying to like flaunt the crazy houses as much, but I'm mostly just trying to find the ones that are unique and like really hardy and interesting.
So is that what you want to pivot to? Is like more design content?
Yeah. I like design so much, so it's easy to talk about.
Did you get into real estate for your love of architecture?
I got into real estate, yeah, because well, I was in marketing before, and I just thought it was like
Okay.
so endless with the things you could do creatively, and I thought quite frankly like real estate marketing was very boring. So I wanted to be
Yeah.
able to kind of just invigorate it with a little more color and design flair and just marketing that's actually fun to watch.
Right. So on the different platforms, do you think for agents, because you've built a really great audience on TikTok, do you think you should stay completely on your property tours on TikTok, YouTube do more design, Instagram do more like personal life, or do you think you should start like blending it all together?
I think as like the pillars of each, I'm going to continue with, like you said, the house tours on TikTok and then more design conversations on YouTube. And then you said it basically exactly how I would, but I want to sprinkle a little bit of each into themselves and try to just like create more of a me platform. That's the goal, but I don't think it's something that you can just shift immediately and expect to do well. So it's got to be very slow and gradual
Design is so
strategy.
interesting though to the consumer too, and house tours. Like you're hitting both consumer and agent with this content, and it's endless
Yeah.
content, which is great because each house offers unique design and a unique tour. So that's
Yeah.
really good. But I totally hear you too with like it's hard to shift content because once you've kind of trained the algorithm a certain way, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram where people expect something from you, it's really hard to
Hmm.
wiggle your way out of that. Like if you see on TikTok, there's people that will use one filter, like the Thanos face or something, and use that
Yeah.
for 500 videos in a row. And it's because it works and they're getting
Hmm.
200,000 views consistently at a time. So yeah, it's tough for agents and for any sort of creator to evolve out of what they're doing. Like, I mean, even for Matt and I, like doing this
Yeah.
podcast, this at least helped because it's a completely different platform. But trying to do other things that aren't just like funny, ridiculous content is what we want to lean into a little bit more.
Yeah. Well,
What
if you
what go for it.
I was just going to say, if you think of like the platforms as almost like channels on your network, it's sort of, you can do like you guys exploring the podcast stuff here, and then on YouTube do a different style. But I think all of it is one image in combination, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you're not just comedy, you're also whatever you want to be.
Yeah. What I'm trying to really focus on now is like looking at it more of as just an audience and not an algorithm.
Hmm.
Like actually Mr. Beast was just talking about that too in one of his podcasts, but it's so true because I feel like you can niche down and you can figure out the content that kind of gets you to the dance, and you got to always keep up with that content because obviously that's what people like, but then you can
Yeah.
start sprinkling things in. And I truly believe that if you do whatever it is, if it's good content, people will come. Like
Hmm.
no matter what the algorithm's doing, no matter like people will want to see it if like, you know, you just have to do it in the right way. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying. Cause like for so long I've been like caught up in the algorithm and comments and views. And finally, I think both Eric and I are kind of letting go of that a little bit because we realize it doesn't matter as much as like the actual engagement that we're getting from kind of everywhere else and the
Hmm.
interactions we're having, that sometimes you get caught up in views that don't really matter as much at the end of the day.
It's nice to have a small following on a new platform, because it really gives you the opportunity to explore without the pressure of feeling like people are actually watching. And then I encountered someone who talked about just comparing your videos. Like there's different styles of videos. Obviously, there's the ones that are meant to have reach and like really reach a large audience, and but not connect with anyone on a deeper level. And I would say that that's sort of what the house tour videos are like. And then obviously there's videos that are a little bit more about your personality and like talk about your values or what you're interested in. And those ones, they really aren't designed to connect with a large amount of people, but they are designed to connect with a small amount of people more deeply if you get into like the emotional side of things. But if you compare those, they're really not apples to apples. So it's unfair to try to feel like your one video sucks because it's not going viral, but it really shouldn't go viral.
Yeah, it's the micro versus macro content. We always talk about this also, is if you're creating something for your audience that doesn't do as well, just like you said, that's completely fine. Like if you're creating content for the Toronto market, for the Sacramento market, that's not going to get 100,000 views because no one else that's outside that market cares.
Mm-hmm.
So agents kind of have to do a little mix of both. If you want to reach a national audience like Matt does for international referrals and everything, like a cool house tour will hit everybody.
Yeah.
But doing that mix, maybe 70% specific content and then 30% content for the masses is probably the way to go.
Absolutely.
And then in terms of growing on these other platforms, I'm totally with you. I'm so excited right now about YouTube and growing on YouTube. All I care and check is my YouTube numbers now. Instagram, I used to check my insights like every 30 seconds to see, how many accounts I was reaching, how many shares the last post got. But now it's like, I have that platform. I want to grow my TikTok. I want to grow my YouTube. I want to grow the email list. And it is so much more fun because you could just explore and just try different things.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not worried like, okay, if this video gets 10,000 views, that means everybody in my audience hated it for a broke agent post. But if it gets 10,000 views on YouTube, then it's like, holy shit, we're blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's badass. And that's what I'm excited about too. It's like I was saying before, I love doing what I do, but it's fun to just like see what else you're almost capable of and challenge yourself. And like, yeah, like I would love to get into more. Like we're still in talks at BAM to do like more of an interior design renovation show that I'll be kind of, I guess, hosting maybe. But that's the kind of things that excite me to like see where that could go, and the other podcasts and stuff. So it's cool. I think people need to like just know it's, I don't know. I feel like people are so caught up in algorithms and the platforms right now. Like if they don't have hundreds of thousands of followers or views or likes, they're just like so bummed out. It's like, just do what you got to do. Like I'm the same, Eric. I don't look half as much as I used to. I mean, we used to have text messages all day about posts performing poorly.
Yeah, about
Really?
posts and story engagement and everything. Because I mean, during the pandemic, this was like the golden era of real estate content creation, and we were all sitting in our houses. So all that mattered to us, at least, and I'm very aware that this is not every other agent. Most agents were, doing an enormous amount of business during this time, Matt included. I'm just talking about myself here, but I mean, it was just like, oh, well, this story didn't get views. Why not? And these are all good metrics because it did unleash an enormous amount of growth for all of us and expanded our brands. But now it's to the point where I just want to grow on these other platforms because Instagram seems to be falling by the wayside a little bit. I think TikTok has started to really dominate the conversation. Gary Vee just listed his 5 most important platforms to be on. Instagram was not one of them. LinkedIn was above Instagram. So going all in on this platform at this point does not make sense. And then this just came out a week ago. TikTok is about to start uploading photos. So you can now do carousel posts on TikTok. So Gary Vee always said if TikTok does this, it might kill Instagram. And now that they're doing it, it might kill Instagram. So what do you think about that? Are you gonna use that feature? Or are you gonna post photos on TikTok?
I've seen the carousel photos before. Like they're there already.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're like taking up the full screen, it's okay. But the ones I see where they're like the black bars are at the top, I think that's like a complete waste of space because you're wasting 2/3 of the screen. But I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. I honestly wish Instagram was just photos because I want to be able to go somewhere that's not a website where I can just go and click and actually look at just static photos without things moving before I'm ready to finish looking at them.
Yeah, I've kind of reversed my opinion on Instagram to where I was pissed that they kept suggesting posts to us, and I was pissed that it was becoming TikTok. And then the user experience sucks when it's just your friends.
Yeah.
Like, I actually like the suggested posts way more. And I know like Instagram recently reversed that decision because Kylie Jenner tweeted, make Instagram again. And then they were like, okay, we're turning down the suggested posts. And they actually announced that they were doing this. And now it's way more of your friends and you see the people you're following again. And that's great. I do want to see what they're doing. But the experience is so inferior to the scrolling of TikTok. Like, TikTok is just constant entertainment, people you don't follow, videos you've never seen before. And Instagram is, people eating their lunches or something. I don't care about that as much anymore. So I've reversed in the last month.
I wonder if Instagram did a discover page for your friends, because like I would love like an overall image. You know what I'm like? You know, you can click on the discover page and it's like a bunch of pictures in one thing.
Yeah,
like that for friends, I would be interested in. I think.
Well, they have the following feed, so if you want to just see the people you're following, you can switch to that. So it won't ever suggest anything to you.
But you still have to scroll through it.
Yeah, you have to scroll through. It's not like it's a menu of everything.
Wait, where is even the discover page?
You just click the search button, basically.
Yeah, but like imagine you had a friends page that was all
right.
That like I could see all my friends' pictures in one spot. And I don't have to scroll for like, I don't know. There's something about like scrolling like this part. It's like it's just, I don't know.
Moral of the story, I think, Matt, we need to focus on TikTok. We've been saying this for years.
we say this but every episode.
I mean, it's just like it's to the point now where this cannot be ignored. And Matt's uploaded there. It's not something like I consume so much more on TikTok. That's where the attention is. I don't know anyone like my fiance sits there on TikTok like at the end of the night and scrolls for, an hour and a half. She doesn't go on Instagram anymore.
Yeah.
We're 32, 34. Like, this is where the attention is. It's not just 15-year-olds. So, and the ability to grow there is still far superior to that of Instagram.
I think your style watches do really well.
My wife watches TikTok on Instagram. You know that kind of person. Doesn't actually have TikTok. She just watches the refurbished TikTok on Reels. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, same type of thing. We need to get on TikTok. We need to get on LinkedIn. I always thought LinkedIn would be funny for me to almost just be like a troll.
Yeah.
And just like post random shit. Because like it's more buttoned up professional. I think. I don't know. I've had a page for like 5 years. I don't know what the hell goes on there. But no, we definitely have to branch out. Every agent has to branch out. And every agent, like, what I love so much about your content, Miranda, is like, it's inspiring for so many agents because you can just do that voiceover. Like, so many people are scared to be on camera. So don't be on camera then. You can still make something interesting without being on camera.
Yeah. There's a guy at my office
yeah,
doing like the best job of that. His name's Gavin Fong. If you look him up on TikTok, he gets comments all the time like, your voiceover is my favorite. It's so funny. They just like his personality and the way he describes. Like, we'll go to the same listing and his video will be completely different than mine. And that's like just a testament to how much voiceover can really show your personality, even if you're nervous.
You could be hilarious with voiceovers also.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's hilarious. Mine, Eric? Do you see mine from mine like a long time ago when I was like Gordon Ramsay would fucking love this kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That stuff would crush, like a Bob Menery accepted real estate of someone just doing voiceovers to property tours and saying how horrible they are. I'm sure something like that kind of already exists, but I just
Eric,
the thing is I don't know.
Voice.
I could do a broadcaster voice, but I don't know enough about design. I'd be like, this is the kitchen. This is like I can't even articulate what I'm seeing. That was always my problem.
Part, though.
I guess that's true.
This
but
is the kitchen. This is the room beside the kitchen.
Well, you know who does it is the Zillow Gone Wild guy, Samir. He does that.
He does.
So he'll basically take you through. It's celebrity home shopping. He'll take you to little green screen mode and take you through Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner's house, and say like, here's what we like about it. Here's what we don't like about it. And it's him not actually physically in the property, but just looking at the photos. And he has this really dry delivery. We've actually had him on the podcast. Check that episode out. But he's really good at it.
Miranda, what you said before we wrap up, this is a great nugget for agents, and I challenge all agents to do this. So you go like to the property with a friend. So this is what I challenge agents to do. Step out of your comfort zone, get 4 agents, go carpool together over lunch to a property, and then you all make a video and see whose video does the best. And then keep doing that. It'll be fun. It's a little competitive, and you'll be creating content. So I think that's an awesome idea to buddy up with someone, go out there, see the different styles, get inspiration from everyone, and just crush it.
That listing agent will be frothing at the mouth for that too. If 5 other agents are posting different videos, all promoting someone's listing, or it's that agent's listing, that'd be good too. One more thing is, what are you saying to people or to clients in your listing presentation? Like, are you pitching your TikTok? Are you saying you have this massive following? How is this helping you secure listings and clients?
Yeah, so I really talk about now how it's a reach that extends beyond the capabilities of MLS. It's really like an unlimited reach. I can't promise like gigantic numbers for every property because I don't know, but I think there's beauty in the art of it and saying this is a possibility. I can probably get them at least 10,000 views on a video of a property tour. And then, it's just something that it's so unique to me. And obviously if someone else is doing a similar thing, it's unique to your platform that you can offer people that other agents can't. So it's a big selling feature. And I've had like, I think at least like this last year I had maybe 2 listings and this year I had 7. So, it's definitely tripled my listing business just being able to have that platform.
Do you ever have a client that gets upset at the amount of views, where they'll say like, hey, I saw one that got 20 million and then we did my listing video, I only got 3,000 or something?
No. They mostly don't like the comments sometimes, but with that same thing, I have to say, I try to just tell them in advance, like there's going to be bad comments. I want you to know that regardless.
Oh, yeah.
There's people from outside of this realm of, even just pricing, and they're like, 900,000 for that. Yeah, it just happens. So if you pre-prep them, it's usually okay. But the views, I'll have videos sometimes that get like 3,000 views, and then 2 months later it's at like 30,000. And sometimes it just takes time. But you have to kind of like submit to the algorithm sometimes, and sometimes it's pretty magical and sometimes it's not. So that's just the way it is. Yeah.
True.
You know how like sellers get pissed. Yeah. Sellers get pissed just looking at your own property photos, right? So if you show them something and they're like, no, I wanted this in this location, or I wanted you to show the pool from this angle, or, why is there not a picture of the fireplace in the first 3 photos?
Yeah.
I can't imagine what they think when they see a TikTok and they see the way you described it, and then they see the comments of people saying that it's overpriced or underpriced or the biggest piece of shit property on earth. So that's probably a whole new realm that we haven't even really thought about, Matt. Well, I'm sure you have, but that of clients getting upset with comments from TikToks that are getting thousands of views and reaching an audience that they've never seen before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because they think all the weird shit's like, I just went to a showing and the agent was like, oh, yeah, my clients wanted to show you the steel beams in the cold cellar. I was like, dude, get the fuck out of this house. Like, I'm showing my clients. I don't want to hear about the steel beams in the cold cellar. But they, in their mind, that's a selling feature, Yeah. So, like, yeah, if you don't say things perfectly, but I imagine you could just kind of have a script ready and then send it over, be like, hey, this is kind of what I'm going to say. So you kind of pre-approve there, so they're not as like shocked when the video comes out.
The idea of that makes me like cringe. I don't like planning like that, but I feel like I got really lucky with a lot of people who just trust me, and like pulling the story out of the home is the biggest thing. And as long as they know you're not going to talk shit about the property, you're focusing on what you think the highlights are to get people looking at the listing. That's really what you want people to do. So does that mean you have to show everyone the basement? No, but they'll see the basement if they look at the listing. You just want to get them to that next step of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I totally agree. You don't need to show the entire house, because then why are they even going to go view it or do anything else? You want them to take a bit more action.
Yeah. So it's like that first layer. It's the teaser.
The teaser.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, Miranda, Eric, do you want to ask the question?
Yes, Miranda. Where can the people follow you? Don't worry, it's not a scary question. Where can other agents follow you? Let's get those referral numbers up. Let's get that TikTok number to 250,000. Let's get that Instagram to 10.
I'm pretty much Meet Miranda everywhere. MEET Miranda, Miranda. So Instagram is where you'll have like an actual conversation with me, because on TikTok it's harder to like DM people. So
that's another great aspect to the platforms where you don't have a big following yet, is you could re-engage with all these people. Like you can respond to every comment there. You can like every post on a YouTube channel or something. So it's a way easier way to grow on those platforms. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
The Broke Agent presents Over Ask Podcast.